So I've not done a news update post for a very long time for any games, but this one is kind of exciting and I wanted to share it with you just in case you've not seen it. This is a September the 1st dev update which has been posted, and there's a lot of stuff in here which is actually really exciting. So I'll kind of gloss over some things, but we'll go through the things that are important. So first of all, big thank you to the 2.5 million vampires. That's quite, that's something to shout about, quite frankly, for a game from an indie studio. Like, compare that to the number of players that New World's got, for example. Yeah, looking at you, Amazon. Right, so they're just basically talking about, they've studied this, that, and the other, blah, 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 right? Okay, improvements and content, the castle. Right, so what they're saying is it's very early to confirm the specifics of what's going on, right? But they're saying many beautiful domains have been built, worthy of dreaded thrones, and we want to further enable your creativity. We understand the need for more flexibility and choices and want to ensure we satisfy all the architects out there. We're looking into ways to more easily relocate your castle, add cosmetic content, and create new ways to interact with your castle. And then they've got this picture of these 3 harps, okay, and with the title "Play On Vampires." So, tell me if I'm wrong, but this looks like there's instruments going to be coming to V Rising. Hopefully it won't just be kind of like a pre-recorded tune. Maybe it's something you can actually interact with and actually play the harp. But yeah, that's really cool. I know there's a lot of people who are really into instruments within these kind of games to kind of, I don't personally see it, but I know that people love it. And so I'm kind of excited for those people because, that's really cool to have like a massive harp sat there in your castle. Okay, now this one is super, super exciting. People are going to absolutely love this. So one feature that we're exploring is adding multiple floors, and in brackets 2 or more, to the castle. The idea of a massive dreaded spires and the thought of having a labyrinth citadel with many different levels to explore is a part of the vampire fantasy, but the technical challenges have left us prioritizing other options up into the early access release. It's still uncertain if this feature will end up in the game, but we'll be experimenting with various ways we may be able to implement it. It's important that in our approach to mechanics that it can be revolutionary like this one. It can be done in a way that preserves things we already love about V Rising before committing to it. Now, this is a fantastic thing if they can make it work, right? For 2 reasons. One, everyone wants, a basement, a dungeon, a second floor. They want to live in top of a giant spire within their castle. Absolutely fantastic. And the other thing is, it will provide you a lot more real estate to use within your realm. You do need a lot of space, and it's nice to have a lot of space, but within highly populated worlds, that can be really, really difficult to get the room that you require. Now, I imagine from the technical standpoint, it's probably something to do with the way that your land is connected with the blue squares. The name eludes me. The borders. Probably something to do with the way they do the pathfinding of the borders or something. Maybe something to do with that. That's the technical thing. I can't imagine any other reason why it'd be difficult for them, but I'm optimistic that they'll overcome it because that will be a really welcome change. Okay. Now they've got a absolutely stunning picture of a garden with the caption, "How about creating a more fancy garden?" Yes, the gardens were great, but they were lacking. And again, this is kind of going to be really useful if we have like multiple floors, because then we can have our castle built vertically, and then we can have our grounds sprawling over the remainder of our land. That's going to be. I'm going to love. I know that a lot of people love this. I love this idea because I do want a nice garden. Don't get me wrong, I like to kill things, but I want to come home and sit down in my garden. That would be a great feature as well. Being able to sit on a bench, that would be brilliant as well. So I'm hoping that they will do that. Right, okay, so the next section, Castle Servants, is another popular feature we wish to explore further. We've witnessed players using servants in all sorts of innovative ways, some of which are certainly more intended than others. Emergent gameplay like this and players' reactions have given us some inspiration, but it's too soon to say exactly how we intend to expand on the servant system. Now, I personally have not used servants for anything other than their intended purpose, to my knowledge. So, as far as I'm concerned, servants, and I play on the PvE server, so PvP may be different, but from a PvE perspective, I send them on the missions, they come back, they do the stuff. Now, I have had musings about servants being a little bit more, autonomous with certain things, but yeah, I can't think of anything specific that they could do with servants. Are there any things that you've seen people doing with servants which is a little bit like unconventional, for example? Let me know in the comments if there's anything you're aware of which they could build upon, or any ideas that you might have that they might be implementing, because that's a really interesting one. I do certainly think that servants could play a bigger role in the game, but I personally can't think what they would do. So the next section is titled A New World. We heard you desire new lands to explore, and we're excited to bring more of Verdoran to you. There's a brand new biome in the works that holds many secrets, marred in mystery and fresh, unique experiences. It's important to us that every region offers something new in terms of visuals, sound and gameplay. There'll be more enemies to fight, bosses to defeat and V-blood to drink in to fuel your hunt. We're not only expanding the world, we think of it just as important to improve the current biomes and ensure your journey is more exciting and interesting than ever. So that's exciting. More places to explore. The world in itself right now is big, but it's not massive. It's big enough for a good gaming session for over multiple weeks, but it does come to a limit where you get to the stage, especially in the PvP side, where the game comes to a natural end, where there's nothing more to do once you've hit that point, where you've explored everything, pretty much done everything. It just ends. PvP has a little bit more longevity to it, but again, I imagine there's only so many times you can fight the same people on the server. So yeah, it's nice that they're adding this extra content and improving the existing content. Okay, so Polish and Improvements, this picture is titled Concepts of a World with More Density and Depth. Okay, so our teams have been looking at different ways to diversify and fill out our old areas with more engaging content, making them richer and more satisfying to explore. Points of interest and reasons to go out into the world will encourage more player interactions as well as liven the experience of play as a whole. Richer, vivid scenery adds density and character, further solidifying the mood and feel of each zone to be unique experience from one another, and also giving us room to seed in information about Verdoran and cultures and history of the world to impart onto you. Expect new encounters, new discoveries, and new items to utilize. Okay, right. So yeah, they're just adding more to it, more lore, more story, just more. Polish and Improvements. So a more tangible world, whole with history. Okay, wow. This looks absolutely amazing. This is like a great library. I wonder if this is a place to visit or whether this is something that you could build into your castle. But that is stunning. That is absolutely stunning. That, can we look at that? I love this little solar system thing here. That's brilliant. So a more tangible world, whole with history. Okay. So new weapons and abilities. So I'm just gonna keep the screen here for a second because we've got a little animation below. New weapons and abilities. The more destructive tools you have at your disposal as a vampire, the more variation in both PvP and PvE, the more exciting gameplay. A common request is new weapons and abilities, and this is something we have started working on and plan to deliver. Our game director, Peter, already spoiled one of the upcoming weapons during an interview on the Allcraft show with Asmongold. The Great Sword, it's coming. Expect that, along with additional weapons and abilities. To add more depth and diversity to the battlefield, another feature we'll be experimenting with is adding a new layer of itemization. These new drops to hunt would let you modify your gear to augment and further customize your abilities. I don't know about you, but that gives me the tingles. That sounds so exciting to be able to take the build that we've made and tweak it and specialize in something specific. And this is something that I absolutely love in games, because you can make something your own build. You can try different things. Every new item that you can add into a combination spawns dozens, if not hundreds, of different variants of a particular build. Not all great ones, bear in mind, but with tweaking and testing, changing things, then you can find an absolute gem of a build, something that synergizes with the other items and your abilities that you've picked. Okay, so this is the great sword animation, and let's be fair, right? That looks like it carries some kind of weight. You can see the animation. It shows how strong the vampire is, but you can still see the weight of the sword. They've done really, really well with their animations. So the standard attack pattern for the greatsword. Okay, so PvE improvements. With a larger world to explore, we obviously need more things to fill it with. We've been brainstorming and started developing all sorts of different ideas to populate the world with not only more kinds of enemies, but more interesting ones. Adding variety to the enemy types means bringing new mechanics that change not only the way you play the game, but also the feel of the earlier zones, as you have to account for new and very different threats. We also heard you and know that certain parts of the game need improvement in pacing and rebalancing in things like repair costs and build costs. There's a lot of room to iterate on the game in that aspect, and we think giving attention to this will make the current end gameplay loop more satisfying and robust. So currently, I think the enemy design in this game is absolutely on point. The way that their attacks and abilities is not just a standard shoot or hit. There's things that you probably haven't noticed in this game, and they're so well designed and thought out. Let me just highlight one, for example. So you see these guys with the muskets, right? Have you ever noticed that when you're in combat, if there's a horse, they will not shoot you, they will shoot the horse? Think about it. It makes sense. They will shoot the horse to prevent you jumping on the horse and making a quick getaway. Did you notice that? Let me know in the comments if you knew that they did that. Okay. So I'm looking forward to the new things that they may or may not bring into the game. That's exciting to learn about. So this is a silver cargo carriage escort. So, like, on that point, let's just kind of like think about this silver cargo carriage escort. Is this a carriage which is filled with silver that if you kill it, you can loot a ton of silver? I think that might be a kind of a world meta event, something that will just go on throughout the days. Every now and then, this cart will travel, and you can kill it. Not too frequently, hopefully, because we don't want too much silver, because we'll all die. But I like this idea that this could be one of many, many meta events. If you're a player who's played Guild Wars, then you'll know what I mean by meta events. Then they really bring the world to life. You can go into Guild Wars and you can just jump in and take part in any of the ongoing meta events, and everything just feels so alive, so vibrant, and a lot of fun as well. And if they've drawn any amount of inspiration from that idea and are putting it into V Rising, then we have got a lot of exciting things to look forward to. So what rich loot could they be guarding? Yeah, I know. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So Stone Elemental. It's alive, concepting new types of enemies. So this is one of the new types of enemies that they're looking at. And oh my god, that looks painful. If the player hides behind obstacles, the stone elemental can make a jump attack, jumping over the obstacle and surprising the player. That is scary. If you think that you are safe behind a rock hiding from something, and all of a sudden, and bear in mind we have fog of war in this, line of sight stuff, and that jumps on you out of nowhere, that's gonna make you jump. Tell me that's not gonna make you jump. I dare you. You just sat there chilling, and all of a sudden this massive rock lands on your head. That's gonna make you jump. Don't lie to me and tell me it won't. Right, so I wonder where this could be from. So this is massive. If this isn't a boss, is this a boss? Maybe this is one of like the giants that roam around the world, like the stone golems and the treants. Maybe this is one of those kind of things. But what if this is like a boss? I don't know. It screams the size of a boss, but doesn't scream boss in its presence. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one? Right, so PvP Improvements. The early access period has given us a ton of data to work with regarding PvP. Observing your gameplay and getting your feedback has been invaluable to us. V-Rising is a game with many intertwined systems and improvements to things like placement, new weapons and abilities. These are naturally massive improvements to PvP as well. With time, we wish to tackle the raiding system. We feel there are many ways to improve and flesh it out into something more robust and satisfying. We want this to be something that keeps all of your competitive players busy and excited in late game stages. We're also looking into what a castle territory means for the player and planning to solve exploits that can improve the PvP experience, as well as eliminate some methods of PvE griefing. Okay, so that's interesting. They haven't given a lot away there, but they're promising something. And I don't do PvP as it is, so I couldn't even speculate on what the problems are and what they could work on. But if you're a PvP player, what could this mean to you? Right, general improvements. There's a variety of improvements for us to work on based on both feedback we've seen and the things we want to add and ways we want to expand on for the game. For instance, we recognise the awkwardness of the paper press in the current progression. We want to move it to a new V-Blood unit and make it easier for players to choose when they want to hunt it down and gain the ability to invest in research. A solution that brings more player agency to the journey. So before I read on, I just want to kind of go over this bit specifically. Yes, goddamn yes. The paper press was an absolute utter pain. It was literally the last unlock that I got in that tier. So it was absolutely bloody useless to me. There was no benefit to having it whatsoever. It just kind of felt like a bit meh when I got it. Almost like a kick in the balls when I received that. So I'm so glad that they're assigning it to a new V-Blood unit. So then you can prioritize that as a first, because by the end of the game, you have got so much like crap. Like, your fibers that you use those to make the paper. You have so much of that. It's just everywhere. And it would have been so nice and so useful to be able to put that into the paper press and make goddamn paper from the beginning. So yeah, I'm a little bit sore about that, but I'm so pleased that they're changing that for new players. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to do another playthrough. I mean, my castle is melted as it is, so I need to start again anyway. So that's good to know. Okay, fishing is a bit bare bones, and we'd like to make the whole fishing system significantly more polished and enjoyable. We'd like to add more ways to automate your castle, possibly something that can be tied in with servants to otherwise increase the effectiveness of managing your castle. In this way, we can make the entire building, crafting, and progression experience of V-Rising more fun to engage with without abandoning the survival aspects of the game. Yes, that sounds awesome. Like fishing, I don't want to say I like the way they implement fishing, but the way they implement fishing is interesting. I don't like fishing in games in general. But this, it kind of works and doesn't. It's both frustrating and not at the same time. You basically you have to go around, and when you see a specific fishing spot, you cast your line into that fishing spot, and then it's gone. You get one shot at this fishing. You get one kind of catch from this fishing spot, and that's kind of cool. If your idea of fishing is to just go around and then whip out your rod whenever you're close to a thing, and then just grab the one fish and then on your way. But to me, that doesn't kind of feel like what fishing should be. And again, I don't like fishing. I don't care. But if I was focused on wanting to go fish, then I think that I would prefer to just stand in one spot and fish and not have to worry about running round and round trying to find the bubbles in the ocean and having to deal, not the ocean, the rivers, and having to deal with all of the NPCs wandering around the map. It's just a little bit frustrating, quite frankly. Another kind of dead. Right, so we have a skeleton, like one of them guys out of Lord of the Rings. Was it Nazgul? A little bit like that, kind of, perhaps. Yeah, that axe is absolute. I wonder if we're going to get this massive axe, or is that this kind of like a stylized version of the current axe? Because it's two-handed there, isn't it? It's not a two-handed axe in game, right? No, it's dual-wielded axes in game. Do you know what I'm kind of think it is dual-wielded axes in game, isn't it? But this is like a double-handed axe. That sounds cool. Would you use a double-handed axe, a massive double-handed weapon like that? I think I could see myself with it. I can imagine it being slow though. But this is gonna be an enemy, right? We can't. So yeah, we're the vampires. We can't possibly be like skeletons, surely. Interesting though. Sound is another area we'll be working on, which brings even more atmosphere and diversity to the world. We're both improving the existing soundscape and expanding the Vardaran experience with additional music and layers of ambience. Players might also be happy to know that we're looking into adding controller support. Oh my god! I know for a fact that people will want this because I made a video on how to use the Steam controller to play V-Rising, and it got a lot of attention. So people are going to love this. I 100% know that is the right way for them to go. And also that means that if you got controller support, then that means that you can play V-Rising on the Steam Deck, which is brilliant. So thank you so much for adding that. And we're increasingly confident that it's something that will be possible for us. Well, yes, it is possible for you because we've got third parties that have made this. Like myself, we've made basic controller support, so it can be done. You just need to focus on it. So don't give up on that one. We'll all be very sad if you do that because, I mean, the controller scheme that I make was basic and I could do so much better very easily. So if I can do it, you can do it. This would be a major step in the direction of being able to port to consoles and other platforms, as well as offer better support for Steam Deck. Oh, yep, like I was saying, Steam Deck. Other quality of life features like making world traversal easier and more engaging, inventory improvements, or ways to carry more loot from place to place if you invest in the ability to do so are also on our list. These are just a few of many general improvements coming. Oh, God, yes. Like a carriage, maybe. Because when you're in a PvP world, it gets to the point of just inconvenience more than anything else when you're traveling from one place to another with certain materials. So ways to better that is something that I would be quite happy with. I don't know what that would look like. Maybe you could even send your servants with it. Just send your servants across the map with a trailer and cart or whatever. As long as there's no risk to it. I don't mind waiting. Okay, what's this? Forest spider. Itsy bitsy spider. This looks absolutely adorable and frustrating, right? Generally in games, I hate spiders because they always seem to just poison you. But this one looks like it cocoons you. That is pretty sweet. Unless, what if, right? Hear me out, hear me out. What if this was one of your V-Blood powers? You can turn into a spider because we can turn into a wolf. We can turn into a bear, we can turn into a toad, we can turn into a bat, we can turn into a mouse. Why not a spider that can envelop things in its spider web? Because look, it's saying like they've got we've got like a spit and a pull and a cocoon, right? Now we know that this is a thing from that the Spider Queen. I forget the name, but yeah, the Spider Queen in the Chaos Forest where you get the V-Blood from, which is, again, can't remember. But yeah, so she's got an attack where it spits out, grabs, pulls in. But this one, it's got the cocoon element to it. So if that was a V-Blood, that'd be so freaking cool. I don't think it will be because it just says Forest Spider, but if it was, that'd be a brilliant V-Blood to have. And just imagine that in PvP as well. Like, I'm just speculating here. I don't know about PvP and how things work, but like, I imagine that in PvP you don't use your animal forms. There's no use to them, but imagine having like somebody going around, there's a spider within your little hunting party and just like sniping somebody with your web and entombing them. That would be pretty awesome. Right, marketing and community. As with game production, there is also a lot of effort behind V-Rising's marketing machine, and we couldn't be happier with the results from our early access launch campaigns. More than 2.5 million copies sold within 3 months places V-Rising among the best-selling PC games in 2022. Last week, we visited Gamescom with a presence both in the entertainment area and the business section. Besides connecting with fans and expanding our brand awareness, there were meetings with potential partners and collaborators who can help us bring V-Rising to new markets and regions. Focusing on massive expansion-ish patches gives the marketing team more time to build strong campaigns to ensure that everyone will hear about the next update both before and when it lands. While we're preparing the promotional fireworks, we will simultaneously continue to support our community and drop devlogs with the latest news from inside Stunlock Studios. Yeah, I would have loved to have gone and sat on that throne. That would have been so awesome. Do you know anybody who got to sit on the throne? That would be really cool. Let me know in the comments if you got to sit on that throne. Thank you to all that had the chance to visit our V-Rising booth at Gamescom. Yeah, I'd love to have gone there. Look forward to the future. We hope this gives you a hint of what's coming, and we can't wait to reveal more in the coming months. There are still questions about the Dark Master, the Overlord of all vampires, Dracula. Will he return to Verdoran? Our finest prophets promise he will, but we still don't know when or what dreaded form he will take. What we do know is that the future of vampires is something to look forward to. Until next time, bloodsuckers. So there they've got all the contact details and where to grab the game on Steam. So, wow, that is... They've not said anything specific, but they've said a lot. And there's enough there to get excited about. So, questions. What questions do we have? From me to you, I suppose. What is the most intriguing here for you? Is there anything that seems a little bit lackluster? Is there anything that seems a little bit overly exciting and you can't wait to hear more information about it? Do you guys have any questions as well that we may need to discuss in the comments? Please ask them below. And if you want to get into a more in-depth discussion about this, I have a small Discord where you are welcome to join. There'll be a link in the description there. We've got a lot of V-Rising players that have been joining that Discord, and for people who join the Discord early, I'll be giving a special founders role to, which will give heightened access to whatever in the future. I don't know what it's going to look like, to tell you the truth, but I just feel like I want to reward people for jumping into the Discord soon. So yeah, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this. If so, give me a like, and maybe a comment to tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and maybe hit that subscribe button if you want more content like this in the future, and YouTube will push that content to you. So I will see you in the next one.